Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our midday briefing. First, I'd like to share with you a few updates to the President's agenda this week. We announced last Friday President von der Leyen will be in Rome tomorrow to deliver a keynote speech at the 7th French-Italian Economic Forum, Confindustria MEDEF. In Rome, the President will also participate in the Ukraine Recovery Conference, hosted by Italy and Ukraine, where she will deliver an opening speech. Furthermore, still in Rome, President von der Leyen will participate in the meeting of the Coalition of the Willing on Ukraine. She will also meet with Lindsey Graham, United States Senator. And let me also draw your attention to our daily news today, where you will find more details on the President's participation in the Ukraine Recovery Conference, as well as the members of the college who are going. And that's it for our announcements today. We can now move to your questions. I see you have a couple of questions. I will start there, left. Yes.
Hello. Hi, Nikolai Nielsen, EU Observer. I just wanted to get an understanding of exactly what happened yesterday with Commissioner Brunner in Libya. Could you walk us through the events that led to him being declared persona non grata? I mean, I saw the statement by the Libyans. And then what happens next? Will you continue to reach out to authorities in eastern Libya, or is this all over now? Thanks.
Thank you. Markus.
Thanks, Nikolai, for the question. Commissioner Brunner was in Libya yesterday, together with the ministers responsible for migration of Greece, Italy, and Malta. This was an important mission carried out together with member states in view of the recent increase of irregular arrivals from Libya. This was, of course, also a complex mission. In Tripoli, fruitful discussions took place with the government, including the Prime Minister. The meetings that were planned in Benghazi could not take place as foreseen. We will continue our engagement with all actors involved. Today, in Tripoli, a European Commission team continues to hold consultations at technical level. The European Commission is committed to working and cooperating with all key actors in Libya to address common challenges such as migration. And maybe, since you asked about next steps and the bigger picture. The political and security situation in Libya is critical, so political engagement by the EU and member states is crucial, considering the geopolitical consequences for the EU. Our engagement on migration in Libya is part of a broader engagement of the EU in the region. We are supporting strengthening border controls and fighting smuggling and illegal migration. We have strengthened our work with a number of partner countries in the region over the past years and months, and this work is bearing fruit. We see that overall illegal arrivals via the Mediterranean have dropped significantly. You know the figures. Arrivals went down 38% in 2024 and another 20% in the first half of this year. This is in large part thanks to our engagement with partner countries. So this is an approach we will continue to take.
Thank you very much. Still questions on this? I'll go now to the right. I see you guys. We'll get back to you. Yes.
Hi, Camille Condessus from AFP. So just to understand exactly, who exactly was Commissioner Brunner supposed to see at the airport? Who greeted them instead? And do you see this in any way as a move by the Eastern Libyan authorities to recognize their government? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So what happened in Benghazi was there was a protocol issue. This is why it was not possible to carry out the planned meetings. The EU will maintain open channels of communication, and we will continue working in a Team Europe approach with all actors involved.
Thank you. Yep.
Hello, Thomas Mellon Nilsson at Euractiv. Can you just elaborate what was this protocol issue? Can you explain what that was exactly? Thanks.
I will not go here into a blow-by-blow account of what happened exactly, but there was a protocol issue.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Stefan, for the floor. Alexandra Voudouri with Greek Daily Καθημερινή. Marcus, could you elaborate a little bit more on the technical level discussions that are currently taking place in Libya. You said that we will continue to engage with all relevant factors. You mean in both eastern and western part. And Greece is facing, as I asked before, an increased number of migrant flows, and it is expected now to deal with more increased numbers. So, first of all, has the Greek government asked for further aid, and what are you planning to do regarding this situation in Greece? Thank you.
Thanks very much for the question. Yes, indeed, we are concerned about the recent increase in irregular departures from Libya and arrivals to Greece. We are closely monitoring the situation, and we are also closely working with the member states most impacted, as has shown also this mission. I'm not aware of a request by the Greek authorities, but of course we continue to support Greece financially and operationally.
Thank you. You have a follow-up? Switch on. Sorry?
I asked for a clarification on the technical level talks and the continuation of engagement. Does this involve both the western and eastern part of Libya? Thank you.
So what I can confirm at this stage is that there are consultations at technical level in Tripoli. There's a mission today there.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Maria Roni from Athens News Agency. Could you please tell us how do you envisage the obvious damage done to our relations with Benghazi at this stage, and what practical steps can you propose to alleviate the difficult current situation? Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I already replied to this in my previous reply. So yesterday's mission in a Team Europe approach was an important first step to increase engagement with key actors in Libya. We had fruitful discussions in Tripoli. As regards Benghazi, the meetings could not take place as foreseen, but we will continue to engage with actors both in West and East Libya.
Listen, we cannot yet give you details about how, what, when, and what exactly. As was explained by Marcus, we continue to work together. We continue to engage with the actors in both sides of the country, and we will continue our ongoing work. Thank you. Yes, you have a follow-up.
I'd like to have a more concrete answer, because the issue is very critical for Greece, because now the migrant flows is increased very much from the eastern Libya, and they are arriving thousands of migrants in Crete every day. Thank you.
Thank you. But as Marcus has said, we continue to engage with actors in both in West and in East Libya. We'll continue to do that. We will continue to do that at all levels in coordination with the member states, because indeed, as you said, the political and security situation in Libya is quite critical, meaning that political engagement by the European Union, by the member states, remains crucial given the obvious geopolitical consequences for the EU.
And as we said, this is a first step. We've had a number of meetings in partner countries and missions in the past years, and engagement will continue.
Thank you.
Yeah, but usually, if I'm not wrong, if you are declared persona non grata, you're not allowed to return to the place. So, what will you do to have access to? What would you do differently next time when you go to Benghazi? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can only reiterate that we have this engagement, that we are aware, together with the member states, of the important geopolitical situation, and that this engagement remains very clear on our radar. Thank you. David.
Thank you very much for the floor. David Carretta, Radio Radicale. I would like to know who was responsible of, among the Team Europe, of this blunder situation, of what happened yesterday. Who managed the protocol, who decided to go where, to meet whom, and so on. The second question is more political. The Team Europe or the EU, the European Commission, you have to choose, has been humiliated yesterday by what you call Libyan authorities, but in fact are a general supported by Russia, who's sending migrants in Greece and Italy, sometimes weaponizing migrants. And you are saying that you can be humiliated without consequence. You will continue to engage with them. And you want to be a geopolitical actor, a strong Europe, and so on and so on. Do you really think that these are, I mean, this is a wise policy toward Libya, just being humiliated by those actors and saying, well, we'll continue to give you money because we fear more migrants than to be a strong geopolitical actor? Thank you.
Thank you very much. On your first question, we're not here playing a blame game here. Important to stress that this mission was organized with member states, of course, in view of the recent increase of irregular arrivals from Libya. There was indeed an issue on protocol. We will take things forward. But there's nothing more that I can say in terms of, I cannot give a very concrete blow-to-blow overview of what happened when, how, where, and by whom. On the second question that was raised, Anwar, would you like to step in, or is there anything you would like to say first? Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you, David, for the question. In terms of our position, let me here unpack it so it's clear to everyone. The European Union works with the Government of National Unity, which emerged from the UN mediation process as the internationally recognized national executive. The EU engages with authorities throughout the country in line with our One Libya policy. Thank you.
Thank you. David.
Thank you, Stefan. The position of the EAS is very clear. Does the President of the Commission take any responsibility on what happened? Since this mission was decided by her, she asked directly, she announced that I think in the letter or in the press conference of the European Council, and so does the President of the European Commission or Commissioner Brunner are taking responsibility because they decide to go to see Mr. Haftar and their people, authorities? It's a little bit controversial in this occasion, in this mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. The President had indicated, as you know, that we would continue our outreach to Libya and the Libyan authorities, and this is something we abide by this intention. As I said before, context will continue. Our engagement will continue with the Libyan authorities. That's the path that we intend to follow. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Marco Bresolini, Italian newspaper La Stampa. Just wanted a couple of clarification on what Anwar just said. So you worked with the international recognized government of based in Tripoli. So does it mean that the EU does not recognize any legitimacy to the local government in Benghazi? So I just want to clarify this point. I want an answer. And also, maybe it's for Home Affairs, who were the Team Europe delegation supposed to meet yesterday in Benghazi after the meeting in Tripoli? Thank you.
Yes, I have nothing to add based on what I already said, in the sense that indeed we work with the Government of National Unity, which is internationally recognized in terms of national executive. Nothing to add. Thanks.
the second part of my question was, who were they supposed to meet yesterday in Benghazi?
Sorry. I think that would be more for my colleague. Marcus, please.
That is with the Libyan Arab Armed Forces.
Wait, I will first give, yes, okay, yeah.
Yes, Lorne Cook from the Associated Press. Our colleagues have had fairly good information, I think, on what has happened. Can you confirm for me that the Commissioner did not want to meet with Prince Osama Hamid? He was concerned about being seen as officially recognizing that authority in the East. Can you confirm or deny that information, please?
We confirm nor deny. And, the only thing that we can say is what we've just said until now on the organization of this mission. Thank you. Yes, follow up.
Okay, our information is good, so I'll take it as yes. If I could ask, my colleague Nikolai the other day.
Yes, I said.
Yeah, you said yeah. You said nothing. So yeah.
We said there was a protocol issue.
We explained there was indeed a protocol issue that was, and that's what we stand by. Thank you.
No, so the follow-up was my colleague Nikolai asked a week or so ago about officials that Commissioner Brunner said were throwing people into the water, basically. I wonder if you've had time, maybe you've answered him, I don't know, but whether you've had time to identify who those officials were. Were these the people in Benghazi that you're interested in talking to, or the authorities in Tripoli that the Commission, the EU, has continued to work with for years now?
Thanks for the question. I have nothing to add to what we replied to this last week.
Very good, thank you. Yes, and yeah, I'll take a few more questions here. Then we go, but there's a couple of people waiting in Interactio that also want to raise questions.
Thank you again. You said, Marcus, that on the question of Marco Bresolin, who was the Team Europe supposed to meet in Benghazi? You said the Libyan armed forces, if I'm not wrong. But who exactly they were supposed to meet? Can you tell us?
Thank you.
And then you say that there was a protocol issue. Who is responsible for this protocol issue? Who has organized these meetings? And with whom were you supposed to meet? Can we know? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As was said before, this mission was organized together with the member states. As I said, indeed, as Marcus has explained, several fruitful discussions took place in Tripoli. As far as Benghazi is concerned, there was a protocol issue. As I said before as well, we are not here playing a game, blame game. Sorry. And so I cannot give any further details on this for now. What matters is, as Marco said before, that the cooperation continues along the lines that we just explained. Yeah.
Why can't you tell us who they were supposed to meet?
Much I can tell you what I can tell you. There is no further details that we have to share at this stage. Yes.
You can't tell us who they were supposed to meet, but you also told us that you continue to engage with actors in Libya, in East Libya. So, in light of the incident yesterday, so which actors are you engaging with today in Eastern Libya?
Okay, maybe coming back on the meetings. We have been. I've just said that the meeting was supposed to take place with the Libyan Arab Armed Forces, and we've also been clear on what meetings took place in Tripoli. The commissioner actually posted on this in the social media.
Thank you. Guys, do you mind if I first take a few questions from Interactio, because they're waiting to raise questions as well. Virginie.
Moi, c'est pas là-dessus. Désolée.
Merci beaucoup, Virginie.
Il y a un autre sujet que vous allez adorer qui s'appelle le commerce, où on a plein de trucs à se dire aussi.
Exactement. Virginie, je te mets pendant quelques minutes dans le frigo. Je vais te sortir du frigo pour que tu puisses poser ta question. Très intéressante, sûrement. Raffaella.
Does it unmute? Now it works. Okay. Yeah, it's again on, please, the trip to Benghazi. And as this meeting was declared as very important in advance, it's really hard to understand what exactly was the issue, how serious was the issue, how serious was it able to be, so in order to cancel this meeting. Therefore, once again, the question to this protocol issue, if you could have some hint, some information, so we understand why it was so serious to cancel this very important meeting as it was declared in advance. And moreover, did the European delegation, the members of the European delegation, did they leave on their own, or were they then actually asked to leave? Maybe you could answer this question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But listen, we've said it, I can only reiterate what we said before. This was an important mission. Yes, this was also a fruitful mission, a complex mission, but a fruitful mission which led to fruitful discussions as well. There was a protocol issue, but there's not really anything else that I can say. So you hear and see, guys, that we're a little bit out of elements that we can share with you. So I would like to gently start moving to another topic, but I see that Maria Psara has still raised her hand.
Hello, thanks for the floor. I hope you can hear and listen to me.
Yes, we hear and see you.
So I have two questions. The first is that today 520 people arrived to Crete from Libya. And it is a row of the flows that are growing up. I would like to ask you, Marcus, if you interpret these arrivals today as the consequence of what happened yesterday, if you expect these flows to continue and to grow. And another question on the situation in Greece, because in a moment the Prime Minister of Greece is expected in the Parliament on migration issue, and according to information, he will announce that asylum will be suspended for the people who arrive from Libya, and that it will, for them it will be implemented imprisonment. I would like to know if the Greek government has informed the European Commission about its intentions, and if the Commission has agreed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Maria, we don't speculate neither on possible flows, future flows, nor on announcements that might be made, so I cannot say anything about this. What I can say is that we are aware of the arrivals. We are in close touch with the Greek authorities, and we will continue our engagement with partner countries across the Mediterranean as we've done in the past, and we will continue to do so.
Guys, there's still questions, but I would like to move on to another topic. You had the very last... on the Middle East. Keep it for a moment. I'm going to close the topic that we had now. If you have any further questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be happy to take them and handle them. So raise your hands if you have any other questions. I see Tommaso Galavotti. You raised your hand.
Yes, good afternoon, Tommaso Galavotti at Kronos Italy. It's just a curiosity on the same topic. If you have this one Libya policy, why did the delegation go to Benghazi? Can you explain it? Because I can't, make up my mind. It's as you go first to Tindouf and then to Rabat. There are local sensitivities, and it's a strange choice going in both places. If you have one Libya policy. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we have said before the mission that we speak to key actors on the ground, both in East and West Libya, and that was the idea of the mission.
Okay. And with this, we close the topic. Now you raise only your hands if you have other questions on other topics.
Yes.
Thank you.
Razia Akuch, AFP News Agency. I have a question on trade. I love how we go on first. I would like to get some clarity on timing, because we're hearing that there's potentially a framework of a deal going to be presented to member states later today. We've had Trump say 2 days yesterday, meaning that could be Thursday. And so is that what the Commission is also expecting? And I'd like to know what talks there have been between Commission at the political level with their US counterparts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You will not be surprised that Olof came to the podium. Olof.
Thank you for your question, Razier. Here's what I can say to start with. EU teams have been working tirelessly at technical and political level to conclude an agreement in principle with the United States. As President von der Leyen made clear in her remarks to the European Parliament plenary this morning, we are looking for a clear framework from which we can keep building. The EU remains fully committed to achieving such an outcome in order to provide stability and predictability to our economic operators, traders and consumers. The United States has moved its deadline for finalising deals with partner countries to the 1st of August. However, we aim to reach a deal before then, potentially even in the coming days. We have shown our readiness to reach an agreement in principle, and the Commission has consulted closely with our Member States and industry to ensure that there is a high degree of cohesion in our overall EU approach. We count on the US continuing to engage in this sense. Reaching a deal now depends on the willingness to find an outcome that is acceptable to both sides. As President von der Leyen said this morning, we will be firm, but we prefer a negotiated solution. We stick to our principles, we defend our interests, we continue the work in good faith, and we get ready for all scenarios. And as regards your second question, Razier, concerning political level contact, I can confirm that Trade Commissioner Šefčovič had a call with US Commerce Secretary Lutnick yesterday and will speak to the US Trade Representative Greer this afternoon.
Thank you very much. You have a follow-up?
Is that coming days in the same way when we had Mercosur, or is it going to be this week? And just because there seems to be, how do I say this word without being... there's been some salty remarks that the EU is going to get a worse deal than the UK. Would you agree with that assessment as a Commission spokesman? Thank you.
Thank you, Razier. I have nothing to add beyond what I've said. We're working hard to get an agreement in principle with the US, and that is where our focus is at this point in time.
Thank you very much. Et maintenant, je vais sortir Virginie du frigo, parce que Virginie avait posé une question sur le commerce. Virginie, je t'en prie.
Merci, je commençais à avoir très très froid. Hein. Alors j'ai plusieurs questions, oui. Alors j'ai bien compris que c'était dans les prochains jours, et bon, les prochains jours, je ne sais pas ce que ça veut dire. Plus précisément, vous nous avez répété plusieurs fois à cette tribune que l'idée c'était d'avoir un accord avant le 9 juillet. Nous sommes le 9 juillet, donc est-ce qu'on peut dire, au moment où on se parle, qu'il n'y aura pas d'accord aujourd'hui déjà? Première question, voilà, prochain jour, rien aujourd'hui. Deuxième question sur l'accord avec le Royaume-Uni. Vous avez dit, y compris à cette tribune, y compris des responsables politiques de la Commission, que l'accord, au moment où il avait été conclu avec le Royaume-Uni début mai, n'était pas un bon accord, que évidemment l'idée c'était qu'on ait un meilleur accord. Est-ce que vous trouvez toujours que l'accord qui a été conclu entre le Royaume-Uni et les États-Unis est un mauvais accord? Et le cas échéant, si vous trouvez que c'est un bon accord, est-ce que vous pouvez nous expliquer pourquoi? Merci.
Merci pour tes questions, Virginie, mais j'ai très très peu de choses à ajouter à ce que j'ai déjà dit. On va pas faire des comparaisons avec des autres accords que les États-Unis ont signés, parce que nous, on n'a pas déjà un accord. On travaille sur tous les fronts pour avoir un accord, et c'est ce qu'on va continuer de faire dans les jours qui suivent.
Merci beaucoup. Virginie, ta main est toujours levée. Tu as une question de follow-up?
J'ai une question. Vous n'avez pas répondu à mes questions. Donc, première question, peut-on s'attendre à un accord aujourd'hui, ou est-ce que c'est mort pour aujourd'hui? Juste oui, non, facile. Deuxième question, je vous demande pas de comparer, parce que je sais bien qu'il n'y a pas d'accord avec les États-Unis. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'accord entre les États-Unis et le Royaume-Uni? Est-ce que ça peut être un modèle? Qu'est-ce qui est intéressant dans cet accord?
Virginie, je pense que nous avons bien répondu à ta question, mais s'il y a quelque chose que tu veux ajouter?
Rien à ajouter, Virginie. Je suis déçu que tu n'as pas aimé les réponses qu'on t'a données, mais néanmoins, ce sont des réponses que tu vas recevoir aujourd'hui.
Très bien. Merci. Je reste encore un petit peu dans Interactio où je vois plusieurs questions, plusieurs mains levées. I will get back to you guys in the room, but let me now take some questions from Interactio. Francesca.
Hi, Francesca from Politico. I have a question on Italian banking. So we read yesterday that the Commission is preparing...
Excuse me, Francesca, sorry to interrupt you a second. We will handle your question in a moment. We are now handling the tariffs, so let's first finish these questions. Tommaso, do you have a question on this as well? No, your hand is... You put down your hand. Mose, you have a question on trade and tariffs? No. No? Okay, then I go back to the room. Yes.
Thank you for the floor. Jarno Hartikainen, Helsingin Sanomat. The announcement from the US on Sunday, I think, about postponing the deadline until the August the 1st seemed to become as a surprise to EU. Did this announcement anyway affect the negotiations where, you know, meetings postponed or cancelled? Did this postponement of the deadline in any way affect the negotiations? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. But I mean, you know, we are in really, really intensive negotiations right now at technical level and political level. I just mentioned that the Trade Commissioner, Maroš Šefčovič, had a call yesterday with Secretary Lutnick and will have a call today with USTR Greer. I don't think the intensity or the frequency of these contacts could be any greater. So the premise of your question is kind of pointless to my eyes, but all I can do is repeat that we're now in what I would consider to be the most sensitive phase of negotiations. We're pushing to get an agreement in principle, and that is really all we can say for today.
Thank you.
Hi, Lisa O'Carroll from The Guardian. Olaf, could you just give us some sort of outline of where the Commission thinks assuming there is a deal signed this week or next week, where it goes from there? Is the August the 1st another kind of tight deadline for negotiations, or is it more like the UK where the negotiations were open-ended and continued for maybe 2 months before they got an actual text? Just give us some sort of sense of the timeline going forward. Thanks.
Thanks for your question, Lisa. I can't really be prescriptive about what comes next because we don't have any agreement in principle yet. Should we reach an agreement in principle with the US, that will determine what remains to be negotiated, and it will give us some indication of timelines, we hope. But right now, we really need to focus on the intensive technical and political level talks, as I mentioned. We're trying to get something over the line. When I say in the coming days, I mean in the coming days. That's what we're pushing for. It requires two sides to get an agreement over the line, and we believe an agreement is possible.
Thank you.
Karl de Meyer, Les Echos. We hear from different sources that large German car makers have suggested to put in place a very innovative scheme that would give trade benefits to car makers that assemble or build cars in the US. Can you give us the assessment of the Commission on this scheme, and is it still a possibility or is it off the table?
Thanks very much for your question, Carl. Unfortunately, I can't give you any Commission assessment on any such proposal because, as I mentioned, we are now in intensive negotiations with the US. We're not going to give blow-by-blow, hour-by-hour details of what is being said in those negotiations. We have consulted with our member states consistently and in detail. We have consulted with our industry consistently and in detail. We believe that has created a situation of strong EU cohesion where we can speak and negotiate with our American counterparts with confidence, and that is what we will continue to do, the better to reach an agreement that avoids the worst pain of tariffs and gives stability and predictability to businesses here in Europe, but also in the US.
Thank you.
Hi, Koen Verhulst for Politico. I was wondering how much of a negotiation is this really, because we're hearing conflicting things about letters coming this way or not coming this way. Some trading partners of the U.S. have received letters, others have not. It seems to me that the letters that they're preparing on the U.S. side, they sort of suggest that it's just a take it or leave it type of thing. And Bernd Lange this morning, the MEP, prominently on the trade committee in Strasbourg, he said, well, if it's a take it or leave it thing, we should really consider just not taking it. What's your reaction to that?
Thank you, Koen, for your question. I agree that there is some confusion concerning what precisely is happening in this situation. But I can say, I think, with some justification, that none of that confusion is coming from our side. And therefore, I repeat that from the European Union perspective, we are fully committed to getting an agreement in principle over the line with the US as quickly as possible, ideally in the coming days. And as President von der Leyen said this morning, that would provide us with some sort of a platform to continue talking about other issues related to trade. That is our priority, that is our focus, and we're going to continue on that path for the moment.
Thank you. David.
Oui, merci. Olof, depuis aujourd'hui, comme l'a fait la présidente d'ailleurs, tu insistes sur stabilité et prévisibilité pour les acteurs économiques européens et de l'autre côté de l'Atlantique. Est-ce que ça, c'est l'objectif maintenant? Donc, pas avoir un accord équilibré qui aille des avantages pour tout le monde, mais un accord qui garantisse prévisibilité et stabilité, c'est-à-dire on accepte les droits de douane que l'administration Trump déjà impose aujourd'hui sur les produits européens, les droits de douane 10%, 25%, 50%, parce qu'au moins on a une situation stable et prévisible pour notre entreprise. Merci.
Grazie David. Une fois qu'on a sur la table un accord en principe, on peut entrer dans un débat pour ce genre de questions. Mais là maintenant c'est trop tôt. On est dans une phase intensive de négociation. Si on arrive à trouver un accord en principe, on peut débattre les mérites de cet accord. Mais avant que cet accord soit conclu, je ne vais pas dire plus comparé à ce que je viens de dire.
And as the President has also said, ou comme la Présidente l'a aussi dit au Parlement, notre ligne a toujours été claire, nous serons fermes, nous préférons évidemment une solution négociée, nous insistons sur nos principes et nous insistons et nous défendons nos intérêts, évidemment. David, tu as une question de suivi.
Oui, désolé si j'ai une question de suivi. Le fait est que je ne veux pas débattre avec toi ou avec quelqu'un d'autre les mérites d'un accord qui n'est pas sur place. C'est pas ça. On est dans une démocratie. Vous êtes responsable de négocier. Vous avez des éléments de langage que vous utilisez pour indiquer à la presse, aux politiciens, aux responsables politiques et aux citoyens quels sont vos objectifs. Les éléments de langage ont changé considérablement depuis le mois de, je dirais même novembre, après l'élection de M. Trump, janvier, février, mars, et pas seulement les éléments de langage, aussi les actions. Donc la ligne a été toujours claire, mais elle n'est pas toujours cohérente, elle a changé. Donc ma question est très simple, il y a des pays membres qui demandent prévisibilité et stabilité pour leurs entreprises avec un accord à tout prix. Est-ce que c'est la nouvelle ligne que la Commission défend?
Mais David, je pense que nous avons toujours été consistants, nous avons toujours été cohérents dans cette salle de presse, nous avons toujours clairement expliqué quels sont les principes importants pour nous. Qu'est-ce qui est important? Nous préférons évidemment une solution négociée, mais si ce n'est pas nécessaire, on verra comment s'y prendre. Et donc cette approche n'a jamais changé, mais il faut aussi comprendre que nous sommes actuellement en négociation, des négociations très importants, des négociations qui ont lieu à tous les niveaux, au niveau technique et au plus haut niveau politique. Donc on ne peut pas donner un reporting, un rapportage chaque heure, chaque minute, chaque jour sur les différentes positions qui peuvent ou qui ne peuvent pas être prises dans le cadre des négociations. Vous pouvez être assuré que dès que nous avons fait des progrès, des pas importants, que évidemment vous seriez informés le temps venu. Donc, mais je suis désolé, je ne pense pas qu'on est en mesure de partager plus d'informations. Non? Très bien. Merci. Yes.
Hello, Olaf. Sorry. So just to confirm, the EU does not expect to receive a letter the same way that South Korea and Japan received letters over the last few days. The deal is going to be different to what Trump has been posting on Truth Social. That's the first question. And the second question, has the Commission got any comment regarding Trump's threats yesterday to impose 50% tariffs on copper and 200% tariffs on pharmaceuticals? Have you got any comment on that or not? Thanks.
Thanks for your questions, Tom. On your second question, our comment is the same as we have made at every threat or subsequent imposition of tariffs from the US side. We don't believe these types of tariffs benefit everyone. We want to avoid them. That's what we've been doing consistently and saying consistently since this whole saga started. And on your first question, my understanding is that we are not going to receive a letter. And that's all I can say on it for now.
Thank you.
So, follow-up to my colleague's question. As you said, the negotiations are in their final stage and very sensitive stage. So did that announcement yesterday by Trump about his intention to impose further tariffs on copper and pharmaceuticals affect the negotiations that you're having currently? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. But again, you're trying to find new angles to ask the same thing. I'm not going to say anything beyond the fact that we are working hard to get an agreement in principle over the line with the US. And, as the President said this morning, that provides us with a starting point to address all the other trade issues that have arisen and continue to arise. And that is how we intend to proceed at the moment.
Thank you. I would also like to gently start stopping questions on this topic so that we can take other questions as well. But Karel, you still had one.
But it's another dimension. So yesterday, Bernd Lange, the president of the Trade Commission in the European Parliament, and several members of this commission were very vocal about the fact that a 10% base tariff was unacceptable for the EU. And, they were suggesting that then the EU should impose countermeasures. I would like to understand what role you think the European Parliament will have to play in the coming months to ratify or approve the final agreement. The framework agreement that we expect in the coming days, if I understand correctly, it will be an informal document. But then once the technical negotiations have been finalized, what will we get? Will it be like an FTA? I would like some clarity on that.
Thanks for your question again, Karel. Look, I can't provide clarity on something that we don't know yet. We don't know precisely what an eventual deal might look like, and we don't know what legal basis will be required for any subsequent agreements building up from any agreement in principle. So I appreciate the question. I know why you're asking it, but I can't give answers about something that has not yet happened, and I can't speculate at this point when we're in the most sensitive phase of negotiations. I would, however, add that it's clear that the Commission, which is responsible for EU trade policy on behalf of the entire European Union, has consulted very closely with the European Parliament at all times, as well as consulting with our Member States and industry. Of course, that's a priority for us. The MEPs represent the democratically elected voices of our European citizens, and the views of the Trade Committee in particular are factored into everything we do. That will continue to be the case, whatever developments arise from here on.
Thank you. Very last question on this. No. OK. On va alors changer de sujet. Raise your hands if you have any other questions for Pardon? Okay. Any other questions? Tommaso, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, but it's on UniCredit. I don't know if it is for all of us.
Yeah, we can take it. We change subjects now. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's about UniCredit because I've been told that there's an exchange of letters between the Commission and the Italian government about UniCredit Banco BPM. I wonder if you can give us an update on this issue, because you've said, the Commission has made clear repeatedly that the use of golden power has been not properly used, and but it seems to have fallen on deaf ears. And also about UniCredit, I have read on Reuters that a spokesperson for the Germany Minister of Finance said that reiterated that the German government is against the fact that UniCredit is rising in the capital of Commerzbank. I wonder if you have anything to say also on this issue, because UniCredit seems to be blocked both in Italy and in Germany. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommaso, for the question. So let me just first clarify on the golden powers that you asked. No decision has been taken. We have also not concluded on any preliminary assessment, and no letters have been sent. So what we did do is that end of May we sent a couple of questions to Italy. We received the reply, and we are looking into the matter. On the second one, on the comments of the German ministry, we would not comment.
Thank you. Tommaso, you have a follow-up?
Yes, it's just about the same issue. I mean, the European Union keeps talking about the banking union, the saving and investments union. How on earth might this project go forward if any government, the German government and the Italian government, can block a market operation, and you say nothing? Thank you so much.
Said it's ongoing. So maybe just to clarify what I'm talking about now, it's this Article 21 of the EU merger regulation. As you know, the Commission has exclusive powers to review mergers. In exceptional circumstances, a member state could impose some conditions or could even veto a merger for reasons not linked to competition, more generally public interest grounds. So now we are analyzing whether the conditions that Italy has put forward for this merger are indeed justified or not, from this angle of whether they have, whether it was possible to do this in these exceptional circumstances. That's what is happening now. More generally, I don't know if my colleague Olof wants to add something. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Tommaso. So just to explain a little bit about the European Commission perspective on this. So we've said many times that, as a general principle, we believe that consolidation of the banking sector through domestic and cross-border mergers could help to improve bank efficiency and profitability, thus benefiting the European economy as a whole, particularly our consumers. Bank consolidation is assessed from two angles: from the prudential perspective, therefore by the European Central Bank, or sometimes national bank supervisors, and the competition perspective, as Leah just mentioned. Where appropriate, mitigation measures can be imposed by those authorities. If green lights are given on both those fronts, in other words, if green lights come from the prudential and the competition perspective, then in the single market, and even more so in the banking union, There is no basis to stop an operation based on a discretionary decision by a Member State government. I remind you that Member States may only impose restrictions to fundamental freedoms, including the freedom of establishment and free movement of capital, if such restrictions are proportionate and based on legitimate public interests. Such restrictions cannot be justified on purely economic grounds. So that's just a brief overview reminder of the European Commission's perspective on these types of cases, and I remind you also that we don't comment on individual cases.
Indeed. On this specific case, as Leah had said, we don't prejudge any assessment. We have an ongoing process for that. Okay, any other questions on this? No. I will now take then maybe Francesca, who had also raised her hand. Francesca?
Yes, well, this was also on UniCredit BPM on the process, on the time frame, but it seems that from what Leah said, it's kind of an open timing because the Commission is assessing the replies, right? Are there any deadlines for the Commission to go back to Italy?
I understand from my colleagues that there are no specific deadlines for the Commission on this. Thank you. Are you raising your hands because it's on this? Then unraise your hands. Let's play the game correctly. Okay. You have questions on this? All right, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Marco Bresolin, La Stampa. I think it's again for Leah on the timing. The golden power on this merger is of course an effect on the possible merger that has a deadline. I mean, the offer that UniCredit made has a deadline that is the 23rd of July. So does this deadline give the Commission a sort of pressure to take this decision before the 23rd of July or not? Because on the contrary, any decision of the Commission would have basically no effect, because the decision to block the golden power should be taken before the 23rd of July if the Commission was that it has any effect. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I mean, we are very much aware of this context, and we are really working as fast as possible. It was just to clarify that there are no mandatory deadlines in which we are supposed to take the decision. But of course, I want to say that we are aware of what's going on and of the context.
Thank you very much. You have a follow-up.
So, should we expect a decision by the Commission before the 23rd of July?
Not prejudge.
Okay. Any other questions on this? No. So now you may raise your hands again. The gentleman in the back with the green shirt, jumper. Sorry, I don't see very well.
Hi, Igor Juric, Slovenian television. Question again for Markus. You dismissed him too early at the beginning. For Markus, I have the similar question on Monday regarding the concert of Croatian nationalist singer Thompson in Zagreb. So the question is that many participants were wearing symbols of the pro-fascist Ustasha regime during this concert, and it was also possible to hear people chanting Old Ustasha salute. So does the Commission have any comment, and if, what kind of comment on these things? And the second question is that some members of government, Croatian government, and also the Prime Minister, it seems that they don't see anything bad in this thing, that this is something wrong. So also, how do you comment this part? Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question. We do not comment on specific cases, and we also don't comment on comments. What I can say more generally when it comes to the EU and to the Commission is that we stand by our values, and we have always been very clear that there is no space for any support or justification of fascism in our union.
That must be crystal clear, I think. Is it on this? Yes. On migration. One second. Any further questions on this? No. Then I take your questions on migration, you said?
Is from the Parliament magazine. With Macron visiting the UK this week, it looks like we might get a bilateral deal on migration with an agreement on the one-in, one-out pilot scheme and tighter tighter channel enforcement. But it's something EU member states like Italy, Greece, Spain apparently not very happy about it, though it's looking both nations are going to forge ahead regardless. Can I get the Commission's reaction on this, and subsequently have there been any discussions between the Commission and the Elysee? Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question. I think I replied to this question last week. We are in contact with the French and also with the UK authorities. We are working with France and the UK as well as other member states in the EU to support solutions that are compatible with the spirit and letter of EU law. And our joint focus in our joint work is the implementation of the Pact on Migration and Asylum, as well as the full application of the current rules, in particular the Dublin rules. I have no comment on the ongoing or upcoming talks. This is what I can say at this stage.
Thank you very much. Any other questions on this? No. Any other? Guys, it's going to be difficult. I think I can take one or two more questions, and then it's going to be David, and then... Yeah.
Thank you. It's a question on Russia, basically, Ukraine. I don't know under which hat, because it's a music director allied with Vladimir Putin, Valery Gergiev, who will perform in a festival in Italy, Naples. The festival is called Un'estate da re. He's a supporter of the war of aggression of Russia, supporter of Putin, and apparently this festival is financed by EU funds through Italy, basically. I'm wondering if you are aware of this situation, which was denounced by the Vice President of the European Parliament, Pina Picerno, if you are in contact with the Italian authorities, and if is it acceptable to use EU money to finance Putin allies performing music in the EU? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at my colleagues to see whether there is anything that they could add. Otherwise, we will definitely get back to this question for you. Yes, you're waiting. I will try to take people that haven't raised their hands before.
Yeah, hi, Joachim Clementi from Estonian Public Broadcasting. On the 18th sanctions package, could you give us an update on where the Commission is in convincing all the member states to come aboard with this? And for a second part of this, the buzz in Tallinn right now is that Estonia is considering a veto of this package if the lowering of the price cap is not included. So my question is, what's the Commission's expectation? Will all the member states come abroad to lowering this price cap, and is this still what you're proposing?
Thank you very much. Listen, we've made our proposal for the 18th sanction package. It is with the Council, with the Member States. The work is ongoing, and we are not in a position to say anything further. Work is ongoing, and we will definitely let you know when further steps have been taken. Is it on this? Only raise your hand if it's on this.
Lisa O'Carroll from The Guardian again. Really appreciate it. It's just a question about the EU institutions itself and how it has treated a Gazan man who has worked for the EU in Gaza for 20 years, was evacuated to Cairo, where he has no rights to live, to work, and was laid off early this week. Or last week rather than 30th of June. He has written to me to say he feels like he has been treated worse than an animal. And you know probably that I've had several responses on the legality of it. The EU has said it's perfectly legal what has happened. But my question is, Are you going to show this man compassion? He and his family have suffered trauma for being in a war zone and have been evacuated with the assistance of the EU to a country where he has no rights, no legal residency. So right now he has no right to an apartment, no right to healthcare, no right to schooling for his children, cannot exit and go back to Gaza. Will you bring him back to Brussels? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. And I think that we have been also in touch. We have also been in touch bilaterally ahead of the story that we have also all read here. I will not comment further on the comments that you have made on the case in question, because that's also not our habitus to hear comment from the podium on individual cases. What I can say, and this is also what has been reflected in the story that has been also published, is the following: that in view of the exceptional circumstances, the EU is providing Mr. Baraka with a comprehensive financial and welfare severance package following the end of his contract. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a follow-up?
I mean, legally, you're absolutely obliged to provide him with a severance package. My question is, will anybody actually pick up the phone and talk to him and show him some compassion and assist him?
Very much. In terms of assistance, I think that based on what we have exchanged also with you, we are actually assisting the person in question as much as we can. And then, in terms of contacts, so the person in question, Mr. Baraka himself, has actually written a letter to the President and also to the High Representative, and the High Representative will take care of this and reply also to Mr. Baraka. So the channels are open. Thank you very much.
And I think I can only reply that we are, of course, fully aware of the difficult situation faced by the people of Gaza, including this person. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that we are having our midday briefing already for more than an hour. I'm afraid I will have to stop. I know there is still questions that you have. Feel free to send us your questions by mail. We'll stand here a little bit longer. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.